I can't believe Homestuck is ending. If you've never heard of Homestuck, then you should run while you still can. But in all seriousness, if you have enough time to go read over 9,000 pages of the most epic webcomic ever written, then go to mspaintadventures.com and read Homestuck. Homestuck is a phenomenon on the internet. Or it was a phenomenon a few years ago. It's kind of died down a little bit, but it's still there. You'll find Homestucks in the places you least expect them. Hi, my name is Natasha, and I'm a Homestuck. See, I wore my grimmest Homestuck shirt in mourning. I can't believe it's ending. We interrupt this video for a really quick explanation of what the plot of Homestuck is in case you don't know. Although Homestuck is almost impossible to describe, it's basically about a kid called John Egbert who starts playing a video game called Spurb, which basically causes the end of the world. And then him and his friends have to play this video game and create a new universe. And along the way they meet these 12 aliens called trolls, which are both parodies of internet trolls and also literal troll aliens, and befriend them and talk to them and help them create their universe, and then also scratch the game, and then they meet their parents / descendants from another universe and have to help them, and also there's cherubs, and the universe is ending, and everyone dies, but is still alive. It's really complicated. Basically a bunch of kids play a game that ends the world, and then they have to make a universe with some troll aliens, and it's really, really, really cool. Okay, back to the video. This April 13th is the end of Homestuck. This webcomic is a social phenomenon. This webcomic is almost 10,000 pages long. This webcomic has millions of fans. This webcomic has literally changed fandoms as we know them. If you haven't actually heard of Homestuck, but you've seen those people with gray face paint and candy-colored horns, those are Homestucks. Those are trolls from Homestuck. And if you haven't heard of Homestuck, but you have heard of Undertale, guess what? Undertale is Homestuck's love child. Well, not really love child, but Undertale is made by Toby Fox. And guess what Toby Fox did before he did Undertale? He did Homestuck. Homestuck is actually written and drawn by a guy called Andrew Hussie. But Toby Fox is a good friend of Andrew Hussie's, and he made a lot of music for Homestuck, and he actually lived in Andrew Hussie's basement for a while. He started making Undertale in Andrew Hussie's basement. Undertale is basically Homestuck's child. If you've seen how big and popular Undertale is on the internet right now, that is nothing compared to how big and popular Homestuck was. Homestuck was insane a few years ago. And I was also insane. Let me tell you a little story about me and Homestuck. The year is 2011. I spend most of my time on the internet looking at anime fan art on DeviantArt and reading fanfiction. Suddenly, I start stumbling upon lots of fan art of mysterious gray creatures with candy corn horns, and I wonder, who are they? What is the story? I look into it further and hear about something called Homestuck. I don't know what it is. I actually think it's some kind of video game or maybe a weird Reddit thing, but I start looking at more of the fan art, and then I start looking at the Ask blogs on Tumblr. There are so many Homestuck Ask blogs. Not only can you ask questions of any character, you can ask about 50 different versions of each character, and people will respond with fan art of those characters and answers in their point of view, and I fall in love with these Ask blogs. And I especially fall in love with a character called Tavros Nitram. I start spending all of my time looking at Tavros Ask blogs. After probably several months of this, I decide, maybe I should read the comic that Tavros is from. So on November 11th, 2011, actually the day Homestuck comes back from a hiatus, I go on to mspaintadventures.com and I begin the descent into Homestuck. Seriously, I read that comic for like a couple months and I finally caught up. There were thousands of pages already when I started reading this in 2011, and it's at almost 10,000 now. Like I said, I started reading it on November 11th, 2011, and that's when Act 6 started. Act 6 is still ongoing right now. It's actually going to end on the 6th, so it might actually already be done when I upload this video, or not. I'm not totally sure when that's going to happen. That's literally 5 years of the same part of this webcomic. Homestuck actually started in April 2009, but the last act has been going on for half a decade. That's insane. That's how long I've been reading this comic. That's how long my life has been occupied by this comic. I don't think anything in my life has ever been so all-consuming of an obsession as Homestuck. I haven't been as big into Homestuck recently as I used to be, and that's largely because Homestuck went on a lot of really long hiatuses starting in around 2013, 2014, when they actually started making a video game of Homestuck, which was supposed to come out in summer of 2014, but is still in progress for a lot of complicated reasons. But back to starting Homestuck. I started reading it in 2011. I read it for a few months. I probably caught up either end of 2011 or beginning of 2012, and I went wild. I drew fan art, I wrote fanfiction, I read so much fanfiction, I was still obsessed with the Ask blogs. I also cosplayed. For 2 Halloweens in a row, I cosplayed Homestuck, really elaborately. One year I did Tavros and my friend did Gamzee, which was crazy because they have insane horns and we made them really big. It was really hard to wear, but we did win a costume contest at school. And another year we did Trickster Jane and Trickster Dirk, which are sort of like hyper video game candy versions of already weird video game characters. That was really fun, and we also won a costume contest at school. And here's some photos. And Homestuck at its height wasn't just crazy in real life with cosplay and just being obsessed with it, it was crazy on the internet. Homestuck owned Tumblr for years. Every time Homestuck would update, and Homestuck would sometimes update more than once a day. When Homestuck was at its prime, it updated constantly. There was actually these little things you could download that would notify you on your computer when Homestuck updated, so you could be there the second the update got uploaded to the website. Because if you weren't there the second it updated, you would get a million spoilers the second you logged into Tumblr, or Reddit, or DeviantArt, or wherever your preferred internet place was. People would have full-blown elaborate cosplays literally hours after characters were introduced. That meant people would literally read the update, go out, get their cosplay stuff, make a completely elaborate troll cosplay in a few hours and start uploading pictures right away to be the first one. And update art? Literally minutes after an update came out, people would be posting art on Tumblr and DeviantArt. It was crazy. Also, a big part of the Homestuck story is characters interacting over an instant messaging system called PesterChump, which isn't a real instant messenger, or at least it wasn't, until people read Homestuck and made their own instant messenger called PesterChump. I spent a good chunk of my high school life talking to people on PesterChump. Honestly, Homestuck wasn't just a fandom, it was literally a way of life, and not just for people in the fandom. Anyone on the internet at the time was absorbing Homestuck culture. Homestuck also has a really specific way of shipping characters, which is not just romantic relationships, but actually 4 different types of relationships that the aliens in Homestuck have. There's flushed, or mate sprits, which is basically your average romantic pairing. Then there's also kismesis, which is a hate ship, which is also really popular on the internet, and you'll probably actually see people shipping kismesis or black ships or spades for their hate ships, even if it has nothing to do with Homestuck. There's also pale relationships or moirels, which are like the platonic version of a romantic relationship. And then there's auspitice, which is a 3-way relationship that is basically one person stepping in and making sure 2 other people don't kill each other. And people ship characters in these quadrants in fandoms other than Homestuck. You might have seen these quadrants without actually seeing Homestuck, because like I said, Homestuck just permeated everything a few years ago. So why am I talking about this crazy fandom right now? Well, if you didn't know, like I said, Homestuck went on a lot of hiatuses the last few years and kind of died down a little bit. But it came back really strong about a week ago, and it's winding down to the actual ending. Probably. Andrew Hussie has been saying that Homestuck is going to end on April 13th basically every year since it started. Originally it was just going to be a 1-year comic, and it was going to be 2 and 3, and really every single April he said it's going to end. I think it's actually going to end this time, but who knows. So if Homestuck does end this April, that's crazy. We're going to be living in a post-Homestuck society. I don't think I'm ready for that. My life has revolved around Homestuck for years. I kind of forgot how much I loved Homestuck until I got back into it this week, and I've been nostalgic as heck. I've been looking at old fanfiction, old fan art, old fan videos, old fan songs. It's crazy. It makes me really nostalgic for a really good time in my life when I was really into this fandom. Every fandom has problems, and sometimes the Homestuck fandom is known for really bad things, but my experience of the Homestuck fandom was really positive, and I had a really, really good time being really obsessed with this incredible webcomic and having an incredible time with a fandom that was more than just a fandom. I don't think any fandom to date, and maybe any fandom in the future, can actually live up to what happened with Homestuck. If you didn't experience the craziness of Homestuck a few years ago, I don't know if anyone can really explain it to you, but it was wild, and I would really like to see if any fandom could ever live up to that. Also, side note about that video game thing, part of the reason why Homestuck went on so many hiatuses was because Hussie was working on a video game version of Homestuck, and there's a lot of reasons why it took so long to come out and why it's still not out yet, and I'm not going to go into that, but what I am going to say is that to fund that video game, he did a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter was also an experience in the Homestuck fandom. I spent a lot of money on that Kickstarter and got a lot of cool merch that I still love to this day. So even though it was a lot of money, I think it was worth it. I got this shirt, I got my super rad poster. Super rad. I got stickers, I got an official OTP. Let me show you my official OTP. Okay, well, I can't find my official OTP, but one of the things I got with the Kickstarter was little patches with different character symbols that was supposed to be your official OTP, and mine was Dirk and Kinea. They're two of the most canon gay characters in the comic, and that's my OTP. For OTP? But the Kickstarter was an experience, and honestly, every part of Homestuck was an experience. I only started reading it 2011. If you started before that, you got to experience even more. Like the time Homestuck had a giant update called Cascade that literally crashed first the Homestuck website and then Newgrounds, because so many people were trying to watch it at the same time, which honestly might happen again on the 6th, or did happen on the 6th if I'm uploading it after that, because there's another giant update coming. So there are a million other things I could say about Homestuck and the Homestuck fandom, and I will probably make another video about it after Homestuck ends on the 13th, and maybe some other Homestuck videos if anybody else wants to listen to me talk about my favorite fandom ever. But the Homestuck fandom has been a crazy experience for me, and a crazy experience for a lot of people, and I can't believe we're gonna live in a post-Homestuck world in a few days. So if you're a huge Homestuck like me, or you've never heard of Homestuck, or you've just heard mysterious whisperings about this weird troll fandom, then I hope this video was fun and interesting and either made you super nostalgic like I am, or made you really intrigued to go check out Homestuck, because it is crazy and it is a phenomenon and it is mind-blowing, both as a story and in form. Oh, also, did I mention that it's not just a regular webcomic? It's a combination of images, text, flash animations, games you play, songs, Morse code, literally just about everything from the internet you can think of is combined to make Homestuck. Not only is it wild as a story, but it's really wild as like a medium of entertainment, and I find that super cool. So even if you don't think the story sounds interesting, just check it out for the way it's told, because it's wild and it's interesting and it really takes advantage of the internet in a way that a lot of other webcomics don't. So back to the video. Homestuck is crazy and awesome, and I can't wait to see how it ends, but I'm also really nostalgic about it, and I just wanted to kind of blather on about it, because I spent a lot of my years in high school talking to my friends about Homestuck. Now I'm here at university, and I do have some friends who read Homestuck, but no one who's as wildly obsessed with it as I am, and I just needed to tell someone about my Homestuck memories, and how excited I am for the end, and how awesome it's been to sort of relive those Homestuck glory days for the past week or so. So if you haven't checked out Homestuck yet, you should go do that, and if you have, then welcome to being nostalgic and excited with me. And if you want to see more nerdy videos from me about Homestuck or video games or any of the other things I talk about, then maybe subscribe and also like, that's a thing. And also comment below if you know Homestuck and if you love Homestuck and what you think of Homestuck, because I always want to talk about Homestuck. Bye! Super rad. Super rad.